to fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be a broadcast engineer for today. Hello, Nick. How you doing today? How is life
I'm
treating you?
I'm doing good. Life good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Mondays are, as always, an adventure for everyone involved. Okay, so we got an interesting week today. So we have fundamental layout design with Nick today. Nick is then taking the next 2 days off, but he'll be back. This series is going to end up continuing for another, I think it's 2 weeks. Okay. Oh, if you'd like to support the channel, you should consider picking up one of these bad boys. I say this every time at the beginning of I never know who's watching, so my regulars to listen to me say this every time. But every once in a while, I get a message, and that message says, "Hey, the live stream as a concept is cool. I really don't like your format." Valid. The live streams are a conversational format meant to encourage conversation and interaction with the FileMaker community, and we also cover a huge variety of topics. And while we do take requests, we don't necessarily get to your requests in a timely fashion. So if you are looking for very specific answers in a timed and a format that you can easily it's not an hour long adventure. You want like a 4 minute, 30-minute max kind of video. You're going to find this in our video training. There are hundreds of hours of content. It's all animated. It's all very concise and specific and well documented. So you can sift through and then sort through your heart's content. Also, there's a ton of sample files. So with that all being said, I think I'm good. I'm kind of inclined to hand it over to you, Nick. Nick, what are we doing today?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, March, for the introduction. So today we continue our series on the fundamental design in FileMaker. So we are going to start talking about, because so far we talk about object, we talk about buttons, we talk about button bar, we talk about many things, accordion, slides, how to replace tabs, how to make button bars better than button bars. So we talk about many things here, but we're going to start about organizing the layout. Okay. So, and to understand how to organize the layouts, you need to get layouts and make the layout to be clear what the layout is about, right? So you cannot make a layout that is about contact and projects and invoices at the same time. I mean, you need to start with the main context, because this is the terminology we speak in FileMaker, right? The terminology, the FileMaker terminology, the context, which is, say, okay, I am in contact, I'm showing contacts, right? So let me see if I can, I couldn't find my FM starting point here. Let me see if I can open that. Okay, so this one is, why said the translator cannot be, what the heck? Hold on. FM starting point. Why said the translator cannot be, what happened here? Oh, because it's not downloaded. I need to download the, oh, the first I cannot be replaced because it's invisible.
Do you need me to find you a download link for FMSP?
No, I might have one here. Yeah, here I have the, yeah, I need to, because I have everything in my computer is on the cloud, so I need to download. It's okay, it's fast. 60 megabyte,
Okay.
okay, it's okay, like 1 megabyte. Okay, here. Use a local version. Admin, I think. Whether it's admin to enter the starting point. Yeah.
I think
Okay,
so.
so yeah,
You good to
yeah,
share
yeah.
your screen?
Yeah, I'm going to show it. So, can you see my screen? I think so.
Yep, we can.
Okay. So, when you need to organize the layouts, okay, you have different context. Okay. So, what is a context in FileMaker? Well, this is a context. Account, context, estimate. All of those things are context, right? So when you want to see all about accounts, when the context is about accounts, right? Well, you need to have a dedicated layout, and then you have your accounts, correct? So you have your accounts and you can create accounts, right? So this layout is all about accounts. Of course, you can see the notes attached to that account. You can see the contact attached to that account, estimates, invoices, project, but this is secondary. This is related data, related contact, related notes, related estimate to that accounts. But the layout itself is all about accounts, right? So you need to uh, establish, determine which context you need. For example, if from starting point, we have accounts, contact, estimate, invoices, project, product. This is the main context, right, that we have in that database. So for each context, you need a main point of data entry, right? So when you want to enter data about account, you go to the account layouts. And you need to stay there. This is about accounts, right? When you're in contacts, this is about contacts, right? So the point of entry here, it's about contact. If I create a new record, it's contacts. So the table, the fields, it's about contacts. Of course, you can see all the related contact, the estimates, the invoices, the project of that contact. That means you have all the related data of that contact. Same for estimate, right? You go to the estimate, it's all about estimate, right? And then so you have a dedicated layout for each context, right? So that is very important to understand. You cannot mix like one layout and have a, a main point of entry for accounts and contact and estimate in the same layout. Okay. Here, in account, I can see the estimate. I can see that I have an estimate um, related to that account, but that's it. I don't see the estimate here. I just see the line, the record that yes, you have an estimate, the date, the estimate, the note, the status, and the total. But if you want to go there, right, you need to click here and then you go to the main data point of entry. We have and point of for the data, right? So you see the layout. So the organization on this, right? It's very important that you keep simple the layouts, right? That I mean, it's like, for example, when you have a house, well, you don't put your bed in the kitchen, right? I mean, if you have a small studio, yes, but generally, when you have a house, you have a bedroom, you have a bathroom, you have a kitchen, you have a living room, maybe you have a dining room or a dining area, but you don't mix everything, right? So pretty much, for example, I don't have my office in the bathroom, right? I don't do that, right? So it's the same thing here. You need to have dedicated spaces for what is for and identify this very clearly for the user. For example, here there is no doubts. I am in estimate. Why? Because I'm showing the here in plain sight. I am in estimate, right? So let's talk about the organization about a layout, right? So this is for the general architecture. of your layouts, right? You need to first, you need to create the table, right? Accounts, contacts, estimate, project, product, so you you put here all the table you need, right? And then from those tables, you create your point of entry, right? Where you can put in the layout the fields for that, everything you need for that context. Okay. But now the problem is what happened. So let's take this here. What happened when you here? You there, and this is what you have. A blank page. So what are you doing here? So this is the problem is you don't know where to start. You don't know, right? What you can do, and you can say, you put that here, and then you put that, so you don't really know how to organize those things, right? So there's ways to organize fields, objects, roles, whatever, and in a very clear way. So you need to apply what I call the kitchen technique, right? Your stencils, right, are they're mostly on the first drawer in your kitchen. The first drawer is your stencil, right? Marge, in your home, that's the case.
Yes.
You know, on top of the sink, or near the sink, on top the cabinetry, you have the plates, the dishes, right? On the bottom, you have
Hmm.
what the heavy pots and stuff like this, because you don't want to lift them. Underneath the sink, you have all the product to bleach and whatever product to clean up the house.
Yes.
Well, this comes because it's practical, right? It's practical to have the products underneath the sink. It's practical to have the utensil, the first drawer, right? It's practical to have the glasses on the right, on the left, or to have the dishes on the right, on the left, on top of the sink, because you wash, you put there. Okay. So, uh, well, this came after years of modern kitchen architecture that came pretty much from the 50s, and pretty much from the United States, by the way. You know, those, because before the kitchen, they weren't that like this. That we didn't even have stove in the kitchen. We had like a chimney, right? And so it came with modern lifestyle, and since then, since we kid, we are trained to do the same thing over and over, right? So in the FileMaker layout is exactly the same. You need to apply the same technique here. Okay. So data are, it's like your stencil spots and stuff like that. They need to be put in certain type of containers. Okay. So for example, you don't put your parts in drawers. I mean, in the drawers for the utensil, you don't put pot because they don't fit. But utensils, yes. And then you have other drawers where you put pretty much all your crap you have. You have the messed up cabinet, the messed up drawer. We all have this in our house where we put everything there, batteries and whatever. Right. So but we have other type of cabinets designed for pots, right? Mostly they can be like a large big drawer that you pull, and they deep, and then you can put the pot there, right? You understand? So you have this type of things they are designed for that type of usage. Well, in FileMaker for the data is exactly the same thing. You need to use the right objects, the right drawers, the right cabinets to put inside your stuff. And depending on how they are, for example, a field, let's say I have a field. This is the field. It's a title. Do I need to put a title like this? No. The title is Mr., Mrs., whatever, they will, their stuff. So, you know, they can, you put here and you have titles. So title is this. So I don't need to have, do I need to have a field like this for title? Do it need to be like this? No, right? I don't. It will be like this, regular field. And even it doesn't have to be that big, by the way. But what about a notes, for example? Is a notes be like this? Well, maybe yes, but more likely you want the note to be like this, because with the notes you will put this guy is a great guy, blah blah. Okay, so you can put more text, right? So this is like a part. Do I put this in the same drawer as the utensil? Maybe not. What about the a container, right? What about a container? So if it's a picture like this, well, maybe it's big like this. But what about if it's a PDF? Do I want a PDF small like this? Because this is a photo, right? But if I put a PDF, so I don't know if I have a PDF here. Let me see. Uh, yeah, I have my stuff for, setting my house. So I need to notarize something. So I'm going to use this. So if I have the PDF here, right? So maybe, so that photo, right? So let's reorganize this like this, right? Maybe the PDF, I want to read it. So maybe the PDF, I'm going to put it like this, but it's a container like a photo, but for PDF. Okay, so I need to make that a PDF container, by the way, right? They both containers, but they have two different purpose. Ergo, I will I will have a different way. I will have a different way to watch it, to look at it. This is one way, this is another. And maybe there's many other documents. So I might need to make it interactive, right? Maybe. And then maybe I can scroll. You understand? So you see, every single object have a different purpose, a different usage, and a different way to be treated. So that's why now the cabinetry, the kitchen cabinetry analogy is a good one, because yes, the containers, but they look different, they have a different usage. I will have a different type of data inside. So they will look, they will have a different look and feel, you know. I don't want the title to be big like this, but I don't want my container to be big like this, right?
Someone mentioned that you made the PDF a text field, not a container.
No, I changed it.
Ah, got it. Okay.
I fixed it. So you understand? So now, do we have any question?
Not at the moment, so you're good.
Okay. Yes, so far it's very simple, but I want to come and be clear here, because they are fundamental, very important for what's followed, right? So now, that being said, uh, how we organize those things, you know? Well, to organize your thing, you need to use another analogy, which is the newspaper analogy, right? A newspaper, right? Something like this. So what do we put, how a newspaper will organize the page, right? Well, more likely, the first thing that you will see is the most important news, right, of the day, you know, like today's Pope Francis, for example, right? That will be the most important news in the entire world. So the newspaper will put, everything about the Pope Francis on the first page, on the top first page, So you use the same technique. What do you put in a contact table, in a contact context? What will be the most important, right? When you hear, for example, you're in contacts, what will be the most important of the contact? Well, first name, last name. Of course, that's the most important thing, right? That you want to know. Who is this guy? It's a contact. The most important thing in a contact is the first name, the last name, and then you waterfall and you say, okay, is it Mr., Mrs.? Is he a supervisor? Uh, the company, the category, their status, right? Even if this is a little bit messed up here, but you understand. So you are going to put everything about the entity, about who is this guy, you know a contact. The most important thing is, who is this guy? I don't I'm not going to put the projects first of the guy. No, you want to know who is this guy. In the same time, you need to make sure that you not only you need to organize the fields, who is this guy, right? But how to enter the data the most efficiently, okay? Because you're going to type data here, right? Going to type, okay? Going to enter names. So you need to use the technique of analyzing your context and say, okay, what is important in a contact, right? Who is this guy, right? Or how I can communicate, where is located, right? So those are fundamental principle of the contacts, right? When you go in a project where it's different, you need to come with what the most important thing you need to know. But let's stay in contact. Okay, let's stay there. So who is this guy? how I can contact, and how and where is this guy's living. So, but within those, let's say, um, information data, there's a thing you can put together, and you need to make sure that they are together visually to guide the eye of the user. So demonstration. So let's dump this, right? So what the most important thing for, you know, the the contact? Title, first name, last name. That's my first thing. Then you say, okay, maybe I need to know the company of this guy, right? Or let's continue. So I have title, first, last. Okay. Then so this is together. Okay, and maybe I can come with the photo. Where is the photo, the image? How they call that photo?
Yes. Photo container.
Yeah,
Yep.
photo. Yeah, right? The photo here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have my photo, you know, I have, but pretty much we do like this. I have my photo and I have this, correct? This together. Then what do I have? Well, I have the company and the job title. This is together. Why? Because, well, company job, right? Company job, you see the connection here. So those are together, right? Those two things are together. So I want those to be part of the same group here because it's about who the guy is, but I can put like here a separation, say, okay, yeah, they're together, right? So let's put that white. They're together, but yeah, uh, that's a difference between this and this, but they're together. Okay. And then it's all about, you know, my stuff, so it's all about the the classification of that guy and how I can how I treat the guy, right? So this is something I put the group together, right? And maybe I can put the status. I don't know if I have status here. Or that the status filter. I don't know. Okay. I don't have status here. I built those stuff. I don't remember, like 20 years ago. Can you imagine 20 years ago? Oof. Facts, groups. No. Okay. So those together, right? And then I can continue following the same pattern, right? So I can put, the everything that is about phone, right? So the mobile, the walk, uh, where the phone, uh, so where the phone, I have a walk. I don't have phones here. Okay, office phone, personal phone, right? And I have the mobile, right? Those are phone because this is how I can communicate with that guy. Okay. But also those phones. But I have another way of communicating, right? You guessed it, emails, office, personal. Okay? So those are communication. And then I have another way to communicate with that guy. I have another important thing I want to know about that guy, right? Is all about address, right? Work address 2, um, work address 1, 2, right? And then I have zip, or yeah, they call that postal, and I have city, right? I might have state, right? But then I have another address, right? So I can put a separation here, and I can just so I have address, home address 1, 2, and I have home, city, state, postal code. Yeah, I don't put country. It's okay. Let me reshuffle this, right? So, but here you can understand what the problem we have here, right? So I'm running out of space, you know, because this layout is not easy to use. I have everything like boom. It's like having all your utensil in on the counter in your kitchen, right? That same thing. Everything there, boom, right? Well, it's not comfortable. It's not easy to read, and it's not easy to use neither, because if you enter all of those things, well, at one point, it will be like hard to read to have all those information, right? So this is where the cabinetry starts to be useful, right? So when you want to organize something like this and you want to optimize the real estate, because yeah, you can go Amazon and buy those 40-inch screen, or like curved, Samsung whatever screen, $1,500 screen, the big one. You can do that, right? But you're not sure that everybody in your company will have this. Um, Maybe you have a guy with a laptop, right? So you need to optimize the real estate. It's like a kitchen, you know. You don't have a royal kitchen maybe in your home, right? So you can't just put everything on the counter in your kitchen. So that's why we have cabinets and drawers to optimize space. Do we have any questions so far?
Not really. So I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
people are
it's
following
pretty
along.
straightforward, but
Mm-hmm.
I need it to be like, you know, basic. So I'm going to organize this. So, and that's why now we need to elect which type of drawers and cabinet I'm going to use here, right? So, because FileMaker, so now you understand, FileMaker doesn't give you anything you have one, you have this one, you know, you have this one. That the only one you have, that the only cabinet you have available. Is that enough? No. Is that good for what I'm doing? No. Why? It's because you can't just say, okay, I'm going to organize that different. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, right? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, right? like this, but this is a big mess. This is a freaking big mess. It's not good. Why? It's because first, I don't have just this to display in my layout. I will have all the thing. I will have many things to display in that layout, not just this, right? So I need to optimize the space differently. And the best way to optimize the space is to think columns, 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 because they are easier to read. And that's why books are like this, magazine, newspaper, websites, everything you read is all about columns. Go online, you will see it's all about columns. And it's all about what I'm talking all the time in terms of design, verticality. It needs to be vertical, not horizontal. You don't put things horizontal. You don't do this. You don't do this. You don't. It's not good, you know. It doesn't look good, you know. It's not easy to use, you know. It's not easy to use at all to do this, right? It's not. So it needs to be in columns, verticals, vertical. But I don't have unlimited space vertical. Neither have limited space horizontal. So I need to optimize how it looks. So here you need to analyze and say, okay, what do I want to show? What the most important thing I need to see here when I start, you know, when I start reading this, right? So the best way to organize this, right? The best way is to do something like they we did, you know, back in the 20 years ago, right? To do something like this, right? We put that here and we put that here. But you can see it doesn't look right. Even if I build it, it doesn't look right. Doesn't. Something off. Okay. So instead, here, I'm going to first optimize the real estate with the object itself. Do I need the title, the labels to be that big? Obviously not. I don't need. So oh, so let's put that on the side for now. Okay. And let's organize those labels differently, right? Because they're not good. You know, they labels on the right on the left like this are not good, you know, because you don't optimize your real estate and they're way too big. So that's why in this theme here, I have three labels, right? I have three labels. I have the one on the left, centered, and right. What is interesting me is the label on the left. But you see, they're all with different width, right? So, and this is not good neither, right? So I want to make them all the same width. So I select all my object like this. I I align them to the left edge, and then I make them resize to the largest width. Boom. Right? Then you can see here the height is too much. So I select one and I put the height I want, right? Right? And I reselect all of them and I say this one is smaller than those, right? So I resize the height to the smaller height. Boom. Now they're all the same, correct? So now what I want to do here, right? I can be even smarter here, okay? Because obviously, if you want to really optimize this, but first let's do the regular thing, and then we do the super optimization later. I want to reorganize those things now, right? So let's do this. Oh, I think I forgot those. I'm going to dismantle those, put them out of the way, right? And then now I can do this, right? See, this and this, right? I can do this, right? Do this, right? And I can do the group and do this. Don't worry. Can do this. Title. First and last, right? But now I want to make sure that I'm reshuffling all of those things correctly. So because I want them to have the same space between them, right? I don't want them to be like this, this one is there, this one is there, right? They're off all. So I organize this the way like this, right? I can even organize a little bit this like this, right? And then I'm selecting, so they are roughly in the position I want. I select them all, right? Make sure they're all aligned on the left. Make sure they all have the same width, right? And then I distribute them vertically. All those objects, boom, boom, right? They're organized now, all of them. So I redo. So they were all off like this. I select all of them and I put this button here, distribute vertically, and then that will put the same space between all objects is distributed. And now I have a block that looks good, correct? Right? We can even optimize more now, right? Because I want those, right? I want those to be more, to be tighter to the fields. So I select those and I took, go down. So now the label, they're like this. Now it looks better, right? Boom, 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 boom. Correct? So when we do this, I can remove those things. That was just for the demo. But yeah, but I want a line here, right? So I show you that the last time. Where's the other line here? So I create a line here. I put a line underneath that field, not on the field, but underneath a little bit. See, not on the here underneath. It's a little bit underneath. If I put plus here, it's a little bit underneath. Okay. So now I duplicate this. How I can duplicate this? You stroke Alt key and you seize the object and you drag, and that will make, right, a copy of this object. You position where you want, and then you duplicate. Command D, duplicate, 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 right? So they can be a little bit off sometime, which is normal because maybe we have a uneven number of pixel, right? So you rearrange that a little bit like this, visually, this one, right? So now they're pretty much all right, right? Okay. Maybe this one is a little bit, yeah, right? This one, it's okay. So now I have three objects here, correct? But you can see, I can tell that here and here it is not distributed perfectly, right? It's not bad, right? But if you want to be sure that you do a distribution that is perfect, right? You select those three objects, you group, select those three objects, you group, select those three objects, you group, you know, those three you group, those three you group, 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 and group, and right? And now I have individual object like this. And you can see here, this is tighter than this one. See? So they weren't very well distributed. So you select those group of objects and you distribute them vertically. Boom. So now they are well distributed. And you say browse. Boom. So you see now the power of the verticality and the power of the column, right? They're all vertical and they're all aligned. Visually, it's comfortable like this. It's comfortable, it's aligned, right? Here, it's aligned, correct? So here you need to see to do the same. It's all aligned, right? So do we have a question?
Yes. Just thinking, if we're optimizing screen space on contacts, why keep the large master detail area on the left of the screen after selecting the contact we're looking for? It takes up a lot of horizontal space. Couldn't you hide after selecting and then have a search button to go back and look at on the master detail for another contact?
Yeah, you can do that. I will show you that. That's why we have an extra week, by the way. We do
Yes.
that until the end of the month. I will show you all the techniques and all the things, the tools we have available for us. Yes, definitely we can do that. And for device like iPad and stuff like this, it's recommended. On desktop, really not really, but on On mobile, yes. And sometime on desktop too, if you have a lot of things and you want to optimize, yeah, of course you can do that. But you lose in visibility, discoverability, and accessibility. Of course, because you hide the list, right? We're going to do that. We're going to land that. Well, land there. Do you
Uh,
have any other question?
yes, we do. How did Nick go to the bottom of each field in one step without scrolling down when doing his line duplicates?
Why? Can you repeat?
Yeah, basically how did Nick go to the bottom of each field in one step without scrolling down when doing his line duplicates?
Okay, because farming, this is from actually, it's funny because this technique of duplication comes from our MacDraw, 1984 MacDraw. The one guy over there at Apple was a genius and he created this. So let me show. If I have an object like this line, so let's make it, like black and bigger. Okay. So I have this line and I duplicate it with the Alt key and I drag it, right? And immediately I reposition it. And now I duplicate that object. Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. So he knows I duplicate that object to here. I moved it a little bit up. So he knows this object. He knows the distance between this object and this object. And each time I'm going to duplicate the object, it will keep the same distance. Boom, 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 boom. Do it again. I have a line here and I duplicate it here. And I put a little bit down. And then immediately I duplicate the object. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. It's the same with fields. I put a field, right? And I duplicate it. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. See? So do it again with the lines. I have this line, right? I duplicate this with the Alt key. I see the object and I drag down. I can reposition this here or using the keys. I can do this. And now this object, the duplicated object, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. That cool? Who didn't know about that? MacDraw, 1984.
Very useful. Thank you very much. Ed
Yeah.
says, new to me.
Okay. For this type of things, like aligning, that cool because that helped me. Yeah, I had some adjustment, but the big work is done. You know what I mean? The big, the big, I had some adjustment to do, yeah, but this helped definitely. And the duplication of the field is good as well because you can say like this, for example, you duplicate this, you put here, and then you say first, duplicate last, duplicate group, duplicate website, duplicate mobile, duplicate fax, duplicate whatever personal phone. And they're all aligned and they're all, so the duplicate is cool, right? I don't use much for the field, but depending on how how you know, your habits, let's say. Other questions?
Nope, I don't see any at the moment, so I think you're good.
Okay, so before we go, now, this is okay, right? This is okay, but still, it's confusing. There's a lot of things to look at the same time, right? There's a lot of things to analyze, and that's not good for the eye. So what can we do? Remember, we say those things, right, are together. So I can do this if I want, right? A little bit too much. So I can do this, boom, 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 right? Boom, 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 boom. Right. Well, see those? Now they are together. So I can draw an area, this is how it call it, and I can embrace this in the area, right? So now I have an area here, right? And I can put back this in default. I have my area. So now this is grouped together, right? And of course, since this is the latest field, I don't need the line here. And I can do a little bit like this, right? So now it looks like this. Perfect. Title, first, last company title, job title. Okay. Now, right? I said, okay, I have another group here, right? So I duplicate this, put here, and I'm going to put those two objects in here, right? And of course, since this will be the latest, I don't need the line here, and I can do this, okay? And actually, I can even, hello, do this. So now I have two groups. See, I have a visual separation, which by the way, it's not enough separation. So I have a visual separation here. And now you understood I want to do the same with those objects here, right? Right? So I'll duplicate this. So thanks to the guide, normally the guide, I'm looking, see up, the guide told me, okay, see the guides? I can show you with the, if I do this, but you see the two arrows, the two block of arrows up and down. Okay, this says me, okay, the object you put there is the same, is at the same distance from the object up, or the upper object, as it is on the other one as well. This is the dynamic guides. Okay, so you need to find it. You need to move up, and it's stick. It's like up, tuck, it's stick. I need to pull, boom, to, yeah, it's stick, sticky. It's a sticky boom, right? So I put that on the back. I put that here, and then I pull that down. And of course, since this is the latest one, I can remove this. So now, visually, I have no problem to read what it is because we organize the thing, correct? Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So here, why I want to explain why I'm using this design here. Why um, it's a great design architecture because it gives you flexibility, easy to use, easy to build, and easy to reuse. All the fields the same width. This object and this object same width. There's no border. Remember I told you, no border, up, down, right? So you don't need to take care of the borders. You don't need to take care of anything. And if here, for example, you have big labels, you can do it. With this technique here, you can't, right? So you can have, wide labels. You have all this. And if you want to resize, let's say, yeah, but they're a little bit too wide. I don't need to be that wide. Okay, you can select all of them, resize them, select those three objects, and resize them as well, right? And voila, right? We can do that. Even though there's a way, because you can have a large last name, large first name, right? But to have, if you start to be smart, right? And to say, okay, I want the first name and the last name next to each other, then you start the trouble. Then you start the trouble aligning them, and you cannot use all the technique I show you to distribute. It's over. And it doesn't look good. It's not. It's better to use the same width of all the fields, right? And there's all the technique to save space and to save, not only to save space, to save real estate, but to keep the visibility, to keep uh, showing the data in a comfortable way, right? Like here, it's comfortable, you know. So, and this is just we just rearranged how it looks, but we didn't rearrange how it behaves, and that will be next week because it's past 6 minutes. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Uh, nope, not particularly. So, comments, questions, concerns, everybody? We good?
Okay. So I'm going to give you this file as
Yes.
is. Okay. And next week, so next Monday, right?
Yes. So I will see you next
Okay.
Monday, Nick. Thank you for popping in. It was awesome as always to have you.
Okay. Thank you.
Look forward to the continued discussion on this. Have a good one,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.